This is part two. I apologize. I put the charger in the tablet, and then the tablet just paused. Anyway, I'm gonna finish. So I had all the pictures around my apartment of goddesses, from Nefertiti to Hathor to Lakshmi of India, um, Ganeshas, um, so many pictures, different temples of Egypt. And then when I poured libations, I would pour libations. And Bobby Hemmett knew a lot of the Egyptian names, the ancient Egyptian names, and I did. And that's when um, I started to hear, I started to crave Jamaican rum. This is part two. I apologize. This is part two of July the 4th of 2025. That's when I started to want to use Jamaican rum to pour libations. After I started to call out different ancient Egyptian names that I learned from Bobby Hemmett. And then I asked to borrow my sister's djembe, and I would play the djembe with Imani and Abbas. Imani and Abbas was also pouring libations with me and calling out these Egyptian names with me. It was us three, the number three. That's three. And that's when I started to want to use Jamaican rum to cleanse the air in four different directions um, before I pour the libations. And then um, so I went to get the Jamaican rum. I didn't know I was going to meet someone from Jamaica, because I came across Jamaicans, but I never dated a Jamaican. Some of the Kenyans used to ask me, was I from Jamaica? I was like, no, I'm from here. When I would go to the private Kenyan dancing clubs and stuff, they were very clever. And they weren't like sexual clubs. No, I mean, if there was something like that going on, I didn't know about it. These were just gatherings of dancing, and you had to be in the clique to know where to go. So I was in the clique because of them coming to my father's business, jazz club, and me being knowing them, some of them, because they would come there, and some of them worked there. So because even though after his club closed, I stayed in contact, and so because of that, I was probably one of the few, or I don't know, at the time I was in the status of African American, but one of the few, if only, or that, and I usually would go with someone that was from Kenya, but I would go by myself sometimes too, to some of the private parties in different buildings they would rent or stuff out. But I knew about them um, because of me staying in contact. That's how I can say. And and so some of them would say, Are you from Jamaica?" And they were so surprised to know that I was not from this landmass, and I was there. So and I would be like, "No, I'm not. I'm not from Jamaica." That's what I would say. So getting back to, I didn't even think twice. I was like, maybe because of my hair, because I used to wear short hair a lot, and I used to wear red braids. I had fiery. I like braids, so sometimes my braids would be, and they were very very extreme. what's the word? I went to some of the best braiders, and they really would have my hair, my braids looking really good. So maybe that's why too. I don't know. Or maybe they just saw something spiritually in me that I didn't know that existed, and they saw. And so and nonetheless, after getting back, finishing the thought. So after pouring libations and Lithonia and calling out Egyptian names that I learned from Bobby Hemmett, and because I used to stay up for hours listening to him, and I listened to other Moors, but Bobby Hemmett seemed to connect. What he was saying seemed to connect more to me. He is from South Carolina. I have family in South Carolina. In fact, my family, my mother's side is from South Carolina, and what I've learned is they migrated from South Carolina to North Carolina. And then my father's side is from North Carolina. So Bobby Hemmett is from South Carolina. And so we could have some um, family connections, and that could be very, very, very true, because is definitely he was very, very spiritual, and and that's all I can say. So we definitely could have some connection with family from South Carolina. Um, Nonetheless, after pouring the Egyptian libations, that's when I had the craving for Jamaican rum to sterilize all four sides of all directions of um, the angles I was sterilizing with Jamaican rum. So I poured the Jamaican rum in my mouth, or I let Abbas do it, or Imani do it. We would take turns, and then and then do the back before we started to pour the libations, before we started to chant. I never ever, she Dwayne Bafave, knew these practices. But after my consciousness changed with the dream, this is what came to me in the books and wanting to be in the magic shops, the herbs. This is this is what came to me. This was natural, and I couldn't get enough of it. And then when I played the djembe, it was me, Imani, and the bass, and the frequency would be so natural to me, you know. The drum. For those who don't know, the drum. Now, when I look at the goddess picture of India that you posted, because I think I flew, and once again, I'm beyond time too,